You're watching Astrology Tonight TV, astrologytonighttv.com. I'm your host, Thomas Lyons, for the week of Monday, March 4th through Sunday, March 10th, 2013. This week on Astrology Tonight TV, we have astrology legend, The Zodiac Circle of Repetition by Michael Erlewine. How to Survive a Scorpio Boss by Robin Collier. Celebrity Birthdays with the comedy birthday song It's Your Birthday, You're Still Stupid by singer-songwriter Bob Lyons at boblyonsmusic.com. And The Energy in the Sky with astrological and astronomical images by Christina Adolphsson. Enjoy. You're watching Astrology Tonight TV, astrologytonighttv.com.
Hi, this is Jim. I'm one of Robin Collier's Android field researchers. Robin has asked me to help you survive having a Scorpio boss. How do you know if your boss is a Scorpio? They were born between October 22nd and November 21st. They are very secretive, so often they lie about their birth date. You may have to figure it out by their behavior. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and Pluto is about power and control. Plutonians are actually secret FBI agents or district attorneys, and are expert interrogators. Scorpio will work hard to find out everything possible about you, and even harder to keep themselves private. Scorpios are almost never what they seem on the surface. They will lie about anything they think is none of your business, and it's best to keep your personal life private rather than giving them knowledge they can use to manipulate you. Here are some things not to do. Do not flatter them. Do not attempt to bribe them. Don't bullshit them in any way. Scorpios are born with very sensitive bullshit detectors. Never sleep with a Scorpio who is, or might become your boss. The key need for Scorpio is control, so you need to control yourself. She hates whiners, and people that lose it in public. Working for a Pluto-ruled boss puts you in a double bind. If you don't do your job well, you're lame. If you do it too well, she will think you are out to get her job. She is paranoid, people really are out to get her. Don't go over her head or behind her back. She will find out from her spies. Gossip is a no-no. If you do, she knows you might gossip about her, and she'll never trust you. Sneaky questions Scorpio ask to find out stuff about you. Scorp, if a person was born in the middle of November, what sign would they be? You had better not quickly reply Scorpio. Say instead, a Virgo? Scorpios think astrology was invented so that others could grab his power, and invade his privacy. The best advice might be to find another boss, unless you are a closed-mouth Scorpio, Taurus or Capricorn yourself. I hope this helps. If you want to find out more, email Robin at astrorobin.com.
Now let's look at what's called the circle of repetition. The idea to consider here is this. Before a planet repeats itself, returns, and completes an entire orbit in our lifetime, we don't know its limits, at least through our personal experience, because it has not completed a cycle during our lifetime. The information that we've received from or through the planet as it counts through the zodiac degree by degree is still new to us. it absorbs our attention, and there's seemingly no end to it. It might as well, from our point of view, be a straight line as far as we know. It's somehow altogether new, at least as far as that planet is concerned. However, when the planet has completed one circle of the zodiac, the information or tone changes for us. We now have the whole of that planet's message or cycle within our experience. Its ability to entrance us begins to fall away, or at least now is included within and as part of our own personal experience. And we begin then to pick up on information about the next outer planet, the planet beyond it that's slowly making its first cycle. I was first exposed to this idea in a book by Grant Allouy called Astrology for the Millions. And although I'm quite well read in the literature of astrology, this book is still perhaps the single most important work on astrology that I've ever come across that relates to time. It is, in my opinion, the definitive work on transits. Everything published since amounts to a footnote to Louis' book. For example, the planet Jupiter makes its first return at about 12 years of age, and this signals adolescence. At that age, we begin to monitor and pick up on the beat and measure of the great keeper of time, the planet Saturn. And it seems that almost all of us get caught up in time at that point in our life. Before our first Saturn return, we are held within the sphere or cycle of Saturn, like a child forming within the womb. These are our formative years, years during which we're growing up and completing our physical form, which is Saturn. Saturn is the physical form. As Saturn completes a great cycle or circle and begins to repeat itself, begins to fade to repetition, its hold on us somehow lapses, and we start to see beyond time, beyond Saturn, and to catch glimpses of a timeless state, what we could call eternity. It dawns, for most of us, very slowly.
It's your birthday, and you're still stupid. You're just another day closer to the grave.
Death at your door, breathing's a chore, Maylocks is long.
It's your birthday, and hey, let's face it, you're dumb.
Dumb, yes you are dumb, incredibly dumb. Dumb, 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 dumb.
Happy birthday!
We find ourselves standing outside of time as we've known it. The transition from within time, within the 30-year orbit of Saturn, to without time, this passage that I'm talking about, and the rites of this passage, that's our theme here. We're going to look at the more esoteric idea of time. My esoteric teacher would always spell words for me. The word time, he said, spells tie-me. And if you turn it around and read it backward, which is what he always did, it says emit. There you have the whole concept in a word. Within the cycle of Saturn, we submit to the force of time, and we form or tie ourselves up and grow our body. We incarnate. After the Saturn return, after we're over the age of 30, we begin to untie. We begin to emit. We start to break up or come apart, literally to shine. This same teacher made it clear that we are launched like a space vehicle at our Saturn return at 30 years of age. At that point, our formative years are over. The time to perfect the launch vehicle, the physical form, is before the launch, before the age of 30 years. That is, while we're still on the ground of Saturn, so to speak. Once launched, we find out just how well made or tightly wrapped we are, how long we will last. We then begin to move beyond the protective sphere of time, of Saturn, and we submit ourselves to the test of time, Saturn or Satan, the old word. How long can we endure? That's the question. At the Saturn return, our physical body, which is now fully formed at 30, heads out beyond the womb-like Saturn cycle. Ready or not, here we come. We are launched beyond time's, which is Saturn's first protective grip, and begin to stand the test of time, to see just what we are made of, just how and how long we will last sailing out there. Time releases, or lets us go, and off we float, freed for the first time from all sense of gravity and the grave. However, the awareness of this event that takes place at 30 years of age or around there may take years for us to develop. At this point, at our Saturn return, we are cut loose. Like some great ship, we begin to float off into space. It is as if some vast generator has been switched off. Our consciousness moves beyond time and Saturn into a new state of mind. We begin to enter what has been called the silence. This great event is given almost little or no fanfare in our modern consciousness and society. We have lots of asides and jokes about growing older, but few direct references to this great transformation, this rite of passage. Most of us take these changes in a very private and solitary way.
You're watching Astrology Tonight TV, astrologytonighttv.com. The 12 Apostles of Astrology, Astrology in the Bible. With all this talk in the news about the Roman Catholic Pope, the Vatican, and predictions for the end of the Catholic Church, possibly foreseen by an Irish archbishop named Malachi, or as some prefer, as predicted by the legendary French seer and astrologer Nostradamus himself, we should remember that futuristic predictions and astrological symbolism have been a part of Judaism and later Roman Catholicism for thousands of years. The 12 signs of the zodiac are believed by many scholars to be represented in human history and mythology again and again. The 12 sons and grandsons of Jacob in the Bible, the 12 tribes of Israel, the 12 labors of Hercules, the 12 days of Christmas, the 12 months of the year, and most notably, the 12 most famous apostles or disciples of Jesus. In fact, one of the most popular ways of drawing up an astrological birth chart in Western astrology is by using the Placidus house system, a way of dividing up the sky in astrology that was developed and used by the Italian Catholic monk Placidus de Titus in the 17th century. Besides practicing astrology, the Roman Catholic monk Placidus de Titus was also a professor of mathematics and physics at the University of Pavia in Italy. Tradition has it that the 12 apostles each represent one of the 12 signs of the zodiac. The most common association of Jesus' 12 disciples and their astrological signs is as follows. Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, the sign of new birth and new beginnings. It is the first fire sign filled with power and creativity and will. The Apostle Peter, later to be called the rock on which the new religion and the new church would be built, was a fiery man with a quick temper, just like the fiery, easy-to-anger Mars-ruled sign of Aries in astrology. The Bible tells us that it was Peter who, in anger, attacked a servant of the Jewish high priest Caiaphas with a sword. Knives and swords are the weapons of Aries, and cut off the man's ear when they came to arrest Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. Even though Jesus wanted them to be peaceful, the hot-headed, fire-sign Aries Peter became violent and angry anyway. Taurus. The apostle known as Simon the Zealot is said to represent the earthy, materialistic sign of Taurus. Taurus has a particularly strong attachment to money and things of the physical world, and it was Simon the Zealot who is said to have stubbornly resisted paying any tax money to their Roman overseers. Taurus is one of the fixed signs or more stubborn signs of the zodiac. Jesus had to overrule Simon the Zealot by directing him to hand over the money that bears the face of the Roman Caesar, saying, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's." Gemini. The apostle historically called James the Lesser was said to be an excellent speaker, preacher, and orator. Gemini is the first of the mental or air signs, and it rules human speech, talking, writing, and intellectual analysis. This apostle is famous for being slow to accept the idea, the mental air sign idea, that Jesus was their Messiah, whilst still being involved with Jesus and his mission. Gemini, the zodiac sign of the twins, is known for juggling more than one way of looking at things, and is the sign most often to be said of two minds about almost anything. Cancer. Cancer is the first of the deeply emotional water signs, and the apostle Andrew is said to have been a fisherman, one who makes his living on the water, who, when he first comes upon Jesus, runs to his family member. Cancer is the sign of the home, mother, and the family, to tell him that they may have found the Messiah. Cancer is often more self-doubting and uncertain than other astrological signs, though generally quite loyal, making the people they spend their time with emotionally members of their extended families. Leo. The determined fire sign of Leo is ruled by the bright, shining sun, and confidence, a sunny disposition, and a strong sense of self are characteristic of the Leo energy. The apostle known historically as John the Beloved is said to be the Leo of the disciples of Jesus. Leos have a strong need to be noticed and admired, and it is actually John himself who declared in his New Testament writings that he was the apostle that Jesus loved above all the others. Leos also have a great flair for the dramatic, and tradition tells us that the vivid, elaborate, over-the-top scenes of the Book of Revelations, also called John's Revelation, were the larger-than-life dreams and visions of the Apostle John. Virgo. Virgos are the grounded, practical, and calculating earth sign of astrology. Virgos like to check their facts and figures and make sure everything adds up before they make a call or a judgment. The Apostle Philip is believed to have been the Virgo of the apostles, one of the dedicated servants of the cause. Virgo is the sign of hard work and service to others, and is the one who compared the signs of the coming Messiah from Hebrew scripture and analyzed in Virgo-style detail before drawing the conclusion that Jesus was who he claimed to be. Libra. The apostle known as Bartholomew and also as Nathaniel is the Libra of the zodiac. The Venus-ruled air sign of Libra is known for their desire for balance. The balance scales are the traditional symbol of Libra, and harmony with others. Libra is ruled by Venus, the goddess of love and harmony. In the King James Version of the Bible, the book of John declares that, quote, Jesus saw Nathanael coming to him and saith of him, Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no guile. Like those who excel in the sign of Libra, Nathaniel Bartholomew was the tactful, persuasive, and diplomatic evangelist of the group. Scorpio. The Apostle Thomas is said to have been the representative of the dark, emotional, distrustful sign of Scorpio. Scorpio is a willful, fixed, or stubborn astrological sign. The Apostle Thomas is famously called the Doubting Thomas, when, as the Bible story tells us, he wouldn't believe that Jesus had returned to them, even as Jesus appeared to stand before him, until he placed the fingers of his hand into Jesus' side. Scorpio, by the way, rules surgery, the art of cutting into the flesh of others and placing your fingers and hands inside their bodies. Sagittarius. The Apostle James takes the role of the astrological sign of Sagittarius among Jesus' inner circle. Along with Peter as the fire sign Aries and John the fire sign Leo, James plays the part of the fire sign Sagittarius, the three fiery leaders of the early church. Sagittarius is a masculine sign that is famous for saying whatever they believe without reservation or caring what others think, and who believe religiously in their freedom to say and be who they are. History tells us that James was the first to die as a martyr in the early church, dying for his beliefs and for openly speaking his mind during the rule of King Herod Agrippa. Capricorn. The Apostle Matthew was the tax collector for the Roman government, the only one of the 12 apostles whose career had him working for the Romans, who were the dominant ruling establishment of the day. Saturn rules the old goat called Capricorn. It is the hard-working and practical earth sign that works with the limitations of structure to reach their goals. Capricorn is the astrology sign that rules our careers and symbolizes governments, rulers, the established order, and the control of others under them by rules and traditions. Famously stoic under pressure, Capricorn desires respect, and, whether they wanted to or not, those the Apostle Matthew visited in the role of Roman tax collector had little choice but to respect his office and give him, as representative of the ruling government, whatever he demanded of them. Aquarius. Aquarians are the friendly but often emotionally detached, idealistic and original thinkers of the zodiac. Thaddeus, also known as Jude or Judas, not to be confused with the often reviled Judas Iscariot, is the Aquarian amongst the apostles. Ruled by Uranus, Aquarians are independent, progressive thinkers, and Thaddeus Jude is said to have been the apostle most concerned with the lot of his fellows in the community at large. Aquarius is concerned with the collective as opposed to the individual needs. As a strong-minded air sign, Thaddeus is remembered for drilling Jesus for the details at the legendary Last Supper. Pisces. Judas Iscariot, the one who we are told betrayed Jesus, leading to Jesus becoming a martyr on the cross, comes in as the Pisces of the original 12 apostles. Pisces rules the 12th house in Western astrology, the place in our birth chart that marks hidden enemies and betrayal by those we thought we could trust. Pisces is the end of the astrological cycle, the end or death that must come before new life can be born again in Aries. And it is Judas's actions in the Bible that lead to the death of Jesus and, we are told, rebirth that completes the story of the life of Jesus of Nazareth. On the darker side of Pisces, the deeply emotional water sign can sometimes symbolize giving up on life and on this physical existence, and in extreme cases, even the act of suicide. Judas Iscariot, tradition tells us, felt excruciating remorse after his betrayal of Jesus, and we are told committed suicide by hanging himself to death on a tree. The higher side of Pisces represents going to a higher physical plane, where one leaves the pain and suffering of the physical reality behind and, as a soul, dives back into the pool of everlasting life, which is what the Christ story tells us happened to Jesus and those apostles whose death came after his. The Bible is dotted with astrological references, including those of the three kings, or three wise men, said to have been astrologers from the East, who followed the signs in the heavens in order to discover the newborn Jesus, who tradition says gave birth to the great age of Pisces, now finally ended and giving way to the age of Aquarius for mankind. In upcoming shows, we'll take a closer look at the Roman Catholic Church today and the implications of the use of astrology by those at the highest levels of the Vatican. This is your host, Thomas Lyons, astrologer for Astrology Tonight TV. For more information about your own birth chart and what might be coming up for you in your future, you can go to our website, astrologytonighttv.com. and arrange for a personal, professional astrology reading for yourself or a loved one, or you can order your own personalized astrological chart and predictive transits that can be emailed directly to you anywhere on the earth. I'm Thomas Lyons, and you're watching Astrology Tonight TV, astrologytonighttv.com, right here on YouTube.